This is a WKYT podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Victor and Andrea. Andrea, this one, a pretty special one, I think it's fair to say. A few tears were shed, tears of joy.
Oh my goodness. This was one of the most beautiful things. I'm constantly thankful for this podcast, and every time we do it, it like reinvigorates my passion for it. And this may be my favorite one yet. Yeah. We talk with both of our good friends, one of my best friends, Miranda Combs, about her adoption. She just recently adopted a baby. What a whirlwind it was.
And it wasn't even really planned. We were just, kind of trying to figure out what we're going to do this week. And Robert, news director, said, maybe you should talk to Miranda. She's kind of got...
He's like, we have a reporter here who's the front page news. And we're like, who?
And
it's
so,
like,
yeah.
I've known about this for a long time.
Yeah.
I knew about this before it was public knowledge. So it's almost like I'm used to the idea, to the point that like the fact that people are just now finding out, I kind of forget that sometimes. So
we're kind of glad everybody else
Yes.
So, all right, well, we're going to stop talking now and just get to this conversation with Miranda Combs. And we're off to the races. Andrea, how's it going?
Really good. And talk about a race. This was one of the quickest adoptions I've ever, encountered in my life. We're talking to Miranda Combs, and you're like front page news today because you just recently adopted a baby.
We did. I got my little girl.
Oh, and by the way, Miranda's a little horse.
Miranda's under the weather. And then that's the thing. This is kind of all happening right now. We wanted to talk to her about it. She said, "What? Well, are you afraid of my voice?" And I said, well, we'll just tell people it's the ghost of Miranda Combs.
Yeah, a lot of people like it. Yeah.
I kind of like it.
Very
kind of
smoky.
sexy.
I like it. Sexy,
Yeah.
smoky voice. Yes.
Sexy Mama 3, we'll call it.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Okay, so first of all, just tell us about your new daughter. You have 2 boys, now a girl.
So yeah, I have Calvin 9 and McCoy is 6. I can hardly remember their names now.
Who?
We all just also know them as like Cal and Max.
I'm like,
so that's why
I like say to my husband all the time, I'm like, where's the older one? I don't, because you can't keep up with 3. People that do 3, they're amazing because we got thrown into it and it's a lot. There's a lot of kids.
But the new one is Etta Jo.
So Etta Jo.
Best name ever.
Etta Jo, yeah. I like that. Yeah, we came up with it in about 5 hours.
Well, that's about all the time you had.
Yeah, overnight we came up with it. But she, do you want me to start at the beginning?
Absolutely, yeah. This happened quickly.
It happened very fast. We decided, and everyone has their own opinions about how they want to handle fostering or adopting. And for us, since we had 2 boys, we always knew we wanted to adopt. Fostering, we were a little concerned about because of the possibility of them leaving the home.
Right, and they'd be close to them and not want to see them go, and that's a big change for kids, so that makes sense.
Exactly. And actually, we had been in the process before. I had infertility issues when we first got married. Well, I guess I still do. I just don't know it. But anyway, so it was hard for us, and so adoption was always on our plate, and it never left. And then, last year I turned 40, and my husband is in his early 40s. And this summer we were like, still a piece missing. I feel like this is the time to do this. And so we went through the process. And I don't know, a lot of people are curious about the process. Basically, if you decide you want to do a domestic adoption, I don't know much about international, but for domestic, you have to get a home study done. And that's about a 2-month process. It's very, not necessarily time-consuming, but annoyingly long because you have to send stuff in, wait for you get FBI checks, background checks of all sorts.
And your husband's in the military, so
right,
it's like everyone has to do it.
Yeah. And in fact, we had done this part previously when we thought we weren't going to be able to have a second child. Mm-hmm. So we knew the process was tough, and they couldn't even keep that from the last time.
Oh, wow.
They had to do it all over again?
We had to redo the whole thing.
Wow.
Do you feel validated now that you passed? Your home
passed a test.
Your home is
worthy,
secure.
Can handle. Oh, don't let me forget to tell that story.
Oh,
I have a funny story about passing tests with babies. But so we passed that test, and they say it'll take most adoption agencies. We went through an agency, Adoption Assistance, is in Kentucky and Tennessee, and they are wonderful, and I highly recommend them to anyone that's looking into adoption or possibly giving their baby up for adoption. they say, hey, it's going to be a year to 18 months. That's pretty much the estimate they give. And then it actually is a detriment to us to have children already, because so many birth mothers want to give to family couples that can't have any children.
Right.
And that's, of course, understandable. But the other side of the coin is, if you give your baby to someone that has kids already, they're in an immediate family, and they will have brothers and sisters. So we were expecting the long haul. We had no...
You had nothing ready.
We had nothing. So we passed the test, and we were like, okay, here we go. I told our boss and said, I don't expect anything, but we've done this. And 18 days later,
A little quicker than you expected.
Less than 3 weeks.
18 days. And the funny story is we never go out. My husband and I never go out ever, like at night. And we had set a couple
at nighttime.
At
You
nighttime.
sound like me.
Because we do have 2 children
time for
anyway.
bed.
Yeah.
So, but we had set a couple up on a date, and it had been planned for months.
What?
And so Saturday,
Stand by. You were supposed to set me up with someone. I'm good
you
now.
don't need anybody.
I don't need anybody now.
I know. I finally found, like, this is a whole nother
I'm so
whole nother
jealous.
interview.
Anyway, back to the
Tangents
story.
with Victor
Back to the
and Andrea.
story.
Tangent. Yes. So anyway, we were a little bit, under the weather on Sunday morning after we had been out all night for
As
quite
I
longer
remember
than
from
normal
your
on Saturday.
from your podcast with when we had DH in here.
From
Beer.
Country Boy.
I went past the canned Miller Lite that night.
My favorite, I wasn't there that week, so you filled in for me graciously. And I remember listening to it back, and I was like, I'm so glad I wasn't there, because she was perfect. And you're like, how do you not get hangovers? And he goes, don't drink so much.
try to drink it,
And
she's
you're like,
like,
well,
"Oh,
that's
no,
not an option.
That's not an option.
So that's not going to happen.
Oh, gosh. So
Don't let
anyway.
them listen to this if you ever decide to adopt again. That whole, they may revoke. No, I'm just kidding.
So I remember.
So you all were feeling rough that Sunday.
Yeah.
We woke up and we were just hanging out and got a call at, I remember, 12:35, and I was still in my pajamas on the couch, and it was from a 502 area code, which I knew could be Louisville. And we knew about this baby because they post the options. And I looked at my husband and I said, oh my goodness. I picked up the phone. My 2 kids, I'll never forget this. They had just come home from church with their grandmother. And of course, typical boys had taken their pants off, were in their underwear, walking around in their underwear.
That's what I do. Yeah.
All I remember is holding the phone and listening to the social worker tell me that she had picked us. And my youngest son is trying to get his khakis on, like walking around, like trying to pull his khakis on. And he's so excited. He was like,
You think like you all were going to get it right there? Is that what he thought?
and we were. So she said, get in the car. She said, the birth mother is expected to be discharged this afternoon, and she'd like to meet you. Oh, it still gives me goosebumps because it was so fast and furious. And I remember, so we went upstairs and got dressed. I remember my husband changed 5 shirts. We couldn't
He was
even
nervous.
figure out what to wear.
Yeah.
What do you wear for something like that?
Right.
Such
You
a
don't want to
big
be too
moment.
casual,
Yeah.
but you don't want to be dressy because you're
Right.
going to be
What
holding
do
a
you do?
baby.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we drove to Hardin County Memorial is where she was born, and she was 2 days old when we met her. And we walked in, and we left our boys. The birth mother wasn't sure if she wanted to meet our boys, understandably. So my father was nice enough to come and meet us and watch our boys in the lobby. And I just remember
Did they
walking.
have their pants on?
They had their pants on. I don't know if they were the right way, but they were on. And I remember walking in the room, and it was like we had known her forever.
Aww.
It was not the baby, but the mom. There was an immediate connection with her, and it was fast and loose. Most of the times, as people who have gone through this before know, you've met the birth mother, you get to know them, and that way they're more comfortable when the day comes. So this was the opposite of that.
Right.
We had to learn each other in 20, 30 minutes. And so we sat down and talked about her health concerns. Honestly, I can't even remember.
Do you
I
know-
remember...
Do you know, did she say why she picked you all? I mean, she had, a stack of applicants.
She
That's
had a
what it
stack,
was.
and you have a profile book. And so she had a stack of books. She didn't say why, but the social worker, and this always tears me up, she said, I've never seen anything like it. She said the birth mother had a pile and just pointed to you guys and said, "That's it," before she even opened up the book.
Oh my gosh.
And then as she opened the book, it just continued to like brighten her face, like she knew that was it. So,
and then you all felt that exact same like sense of companionship and just wow.
it was wild.
That gives you
And
goosebumps.
then the hardest part, as anyone can imagine. So we left her alone with her baby, and went to the lobby, and I waited. I don't know how much time went by. It could have been 10 minutes. It could have been 3 hours. I don't know. But she came out, and her belly was swollen, in the wheelchair with no baby. And we gave her a hug, and she said, "I'll love you guys forever for this."
Miranda.
And so then we stood there and watched her leave, and we're like, "What do we do now?" And the nurse said, "Go get your baby."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was.
Who Cal said that, or Mac, or
No, the nurse.
the nurse did? Oh, I was
nurse
like,
was
I thought you said her
please
son.
don't get this child.
Go get
Do
that
not
baby,
leave.
Mom.
Do not leave this
child
place.
is
Go
gonna
get
be
the
your
baby.
responsibility,
Oh
but
gosh,
wow.
it was so the baby. So we stayed with the baby in the hospital because she'd lost some weight, and so we stayed with her overnight and just tried to figure out a name. Tried to tell family this. A lot of people didn't know. We didn't know what was going to happen. Still, it was still very, and still to this day that it's not final, but it's very close. But at that point, it was very, very volatile. So it was. I can't even think. But let me tell you the story about the test.
Oh, here we go.
I don't know if this happens at every hospital, but at Hardin County Memorial, they are very big on, as everyone should be, shaken baby syndrome.
Yeah.
You don't shake babies. We have to take a test to leave the hospital about shaken baby. We're very sleep deprived at the moment. We've been there all night.
Yeah.
The night before wasn't too great for some of
as
us.
we remember, yes.
And so we had to, they're like, "Have you watched the video yet?" And we're like, "No." And because we feel like we're old pros at this, like we don't
You're
need
like,
this.
We got to,
We
yeah,
don't
we're
need
good.
this,
Yeah.
this is silly. So they're like, "You have to watch this video and take this quiz." And we're like, "Okay." We failed it 3 times. We failed this test. And if you could see the way it's like marked out, we still have it at home, this sheet of paper, and it's like got X's and O's and circles all over it. And finally the nurse comes in and she's like, "Don't shake that baby, right?" And we're like, "Of course."
You're like, look, our kids, they're
I
right here.
I cannot remember what
focus
the answer
on a
is.
test.
I was taking pictures of like the television screen with
trying
my
to cheat.
phone, trying to cheat through this test. It was the hardest
my
thing we've ever
gosh.
done. But I'll never forget it because we were so frazzled. I'm sure that's why. That has to be why, right? I mean,
Yes, that is
we do
yes.
not shake babies. No.
Oh my gosh,
Oh
that
my
is
gosh, it
hilarious.
So you all get an estimate of a year to 18 months. Did you all
18 days.
Sorry, yeah, and then it's 18 days. Did you all already have your baby stuff at home? I
No.
mean, had you?
No.
Was it just an immediate? All right. Well,
We
I
had
guess
a
we're
car
going out.
seat. We did have the car seat because I just had heard of crazy stories like that.
Yeah.
And you kind of hope that will be you because in some ways it gets it over faster.
But you never think it's going
no,
to be you. yeah.
think, no.
We've got a little time. We'll go get a crib.
We'll figure this
some
out. Or
clothes,
once
yeah.
we meet the mom and we know we have 3 months or 2
And
months.
you have a
or
boy or
whatever.
a girl.
Even a month. That's 4 weeks. Like that's plenty of time.
Yeah.
So no, we had nothing. And I remember I've said before I hit rock bottom. I think on day 2 that I was home. I'm standing in the middle of the floor with her. She's only 5 pounds 4 ounces at the time. She's a
She was
itty
tiny.
bitty baby, and I had her in 6-month clothes that thankfully my sister-in-law had brought over.
They were way too big.
Way too big. She's swallowed. She's crying. I'm like, I'm in over my head. I don't know what to do. But then grandparents show up with clothes after clothes after clothes, and
Dun, 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 dun,
and my
to the
mother
rescue.
came up from Atlanta and stayed for a week, and I basically went after her bedroom. And I
Yeah.
kept sending Andrea pictures, like, "What do you think? What do you think about this?" Like, yeah.
I
I didn't
loved
have a
it.
theme or anything.
Everything looked great. And I remember, you know,
Andrea's been over to see her.
I have, and she's so sweet. She's so sweet. I won't say there are some funny moments, but she's perfect. She's perfect. That's all I can
She
say.
toots
but
a lot. You can
She
go ahead.
tooted. She tooted
I
a
think
little
that's
bit.
normal, right?
Yeah.
She was very
You remember.
squirmy.
First thing Vera did was poop on me. So
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, it's love. It's just love.
And the boys love it.
Oh,
Oh, they think it's
that-
hilarious.
I can see them cracking up.
So I remember I guess it was super early, maybe that day too, when you were so stressed out, Miranda texted me and she had already told me, like, guess what? And sent me a picture of a baby. And I'm like, what?
You found a child in the wild? I don't know what's going
A
on.
child in the wild. So number one, we've all already discussed on this podcast that no one should ever tell me a secret.
Oh, yeah.
I have a very hard time
Andrew's like,
keeping
let me know when I can
secrets.
tell everybody I'm dying.
I know, because I was wanting to like throw a baby shower or something, but then I realized, Miranda hasn't told
We're
everyone,
past
and I
that.
didn't want to do that. And then I kept checking in and being like, do you need anything? Do you need anything? And at the beginning, she was like, I need everything,
I don't know what I was so confused.
And at one point, I remember you text me and said, I feel like the weight of the world is on our shoulders to keep this baby,
My husband is always the steady one, and he always, I'm always the anxiety-ridden one, and he's always steady. But I looked at him in like day 2 or 3, and I said, do you feel like you're in over your head? And he said, yes. And when he said that, I said, oh, no. You can't
I need
say
you to
that.
be the rock.
You can't say that. This is, but we're okay. We're good. She's 5 weeks old. Well, she'll be 6 weeks tomorrow.
Oh.
And she's now 8 pounds.
Yeah.
Last
There you
Friday,
go.
she was 8 pounds and 3 ounces. So she's putting on weight. And
It's amazing how you find the ways to do it. Like there are moments where you think, okay, I'm losing
you
it.
figure it out. I
You
know.
figure it out,
And it's
yeah.
different. I don't know if it's because I'm older or if because didn't actually give birth to a baby. But she's very different to me in the love. The love is different. It's more. It's almost like it's more immediate.
We
when-
didn't have the 9
there's no
months
pain.
to, yeah.
There's no C-section pain. There's
Yeah.
no anger about breastfeeding. I mean, I just absolutely worship the ground she walks on,
Yeah.
or she doesn't walk yet. It'd be very funny.
We
if
do
she
worship
did.
it.
This baby's very
She's
advanced.
very advanced.
She's very advanced.
Well, I know, you and I bonded over hot rollers and just, we're very girly, as many of you can probably tell just by looking at us. But I remember I was so excited that you were getting a girl because, of course, you guys have 2 little boys and you're the best little boy mom.
And the last time we
thank
talked to you,
you.
you said, if I'm going to have little boys, I'm going to be able to dress them at least how I want to.
yes.
So,
I'm
so
like,
if I don't have a girl, well, then I'm going to dress
she
you all
got a
fancy.
girl.
I know, and I have goosebumps on that too because I always hated bows. I always thought, that's ridiculous. That child doesn't leave the house ever, and she's always in a bow. Like
I know.
I can't help it because I feel like she looks like a boy if she's not in a bow, and I couldn't have that. I couldn't have any confusion.
Well, my mom got my ears pierced when I was way too young
Which
because
is,
everybody thought I was a boy because I didn't have any hair for a long time.
this will show 'em.
I haven't even thought about it yet, but see, now that's one thing with adoption that's been so fast. My husband and I have decided we are taking this day by day because I haven't thought about.
That's all you can do.
I don't want to go through all the sicknesses again, those early childhood illness. Oh, man. I'm like, we're 41 and 43 now. Oh,
Y'all
man.
are going to be fine.
We're starting over
That's
from
the thing,
scratch.
every time
It's
we,
going to keep you young, baby.
it'll have to. Every time we see a little baby, as I tell Mandy will look at me and be kind of like, oh, maybe.
Oh, you
maybe
have to have
another. I was
another
like,
one.
I think you have like rose-colored glasses. Is what
Well,
I
of
tell her. As
course
far as
you
looking
do.
back, you don't remember us standing
do.
around
I'm sure
crying
that's
and
natural
not being able to
because
sleep. And,
It's like a hangover.
Yeah, there you go. It goes
You
away.
forget.
You just remember the good times.
Oh my gosh. Well, something interesting, and I don't know how much you can talk about this, but you're still in contact with the birth mom. Is that something that's normal?
That's something that surprises a lot of people, but nowadays, very normal. What we have is what's called a semi-open adoption. And again, typically, this is planned before the birth with the mother. You go over, they have a plan for you. But in this case, it was, hey, do you mind if I get some pictures of her? And I'm like, sure. So fast and loose.
You're like, John, put her clothes on.
Sure, okay. But she needed us and we needed her, and we both love
That
Etta
baby.
Joe. I mean, so we keep in touch. She's had a tough life and there are boundaries, most definitely, but she respects the boundaries and we're growing and learning as we go. We don't know what we're doing, and that's what the first thing I always tell her. I feel like she thinks we're the wise older,
Yeah.
old couple.
That's the thing. When you are young and you see people in their late 30s and
You
40s,
think they've got
you
it
think
figured
they've got
out.
it figured out. Yeah, and now
know.
as I'm that age, I think, wow, they
I
they had no idea what they were
So
doing.
literally
and
no one knows what they're
it turns
doing.
out-
And that's what I tell her. I say, we're learning to trust you, and you're learning to trust us, and we'll just keep down this road. But what I don't want to do is affect Etta Jo negatively in any way possible. She has a special life ahead of her, and
Protocols
You're
are
so
such a
confusing.
disaster with
I
her.
can never tell if she's crying because
Or
of
laughing.
your voice right
Yeah,
now.
your voice right now.
It's like it sounds like she's been cracked up the whole time, and I can't tell if it's
it's
crying,
just-
laughing,
But
or just the voice.
I'd
but-
imagine there's also a bit of comfort there for the mother, like being able to see how well she's being taken care of, how much you love her.
She tells
and
me,
just-
she texted me on that
Yeah.
this morning because there was an article in the Herald Leader, and she said, I'm constantly reaffirmed that my choice was the right one. And Etta Jo has just been an amazing rebirth for all of us. It's just been an amazing process. And anyone that's thinking, I've heard so many people say, and I'll wrap this up, I've heard so many people say, I've thought about this, or we've always wanted to do it. Do it. It's the best thing that's ever happened to us. I mean, she's a blessing to the boys. She's a blessing to us. She's a blessing to the family. She teaches us things. She's teaching her grandparents things, that you can love someone that's not blood, like your own. I mean, that's a hard concept for some of the older generations, but they adore her. I mean, she's just love. She is the epitome of unselfish love, and it's been, if you're thinking about it, just do it. Just do it. Because once you do it, you're stuck.
Yeah.
You're stuck.
Yeah,
So,
it's all over. Well, your passion is obvious. I mean, just hearing you speak about it is so beautiful. I mean, I feel very blessed to have this recorded so that I can listen back to
I
this.
wish my voice would have been better.
And I hope someday Etta Jo gets to listen to this, because just hearing
my
you
gosh,
talk
you're
about her
right.
and how much you love her already, just instantly, I think it's wonderful. And this is something you've obviously always felt strongly about. I mean, you've done many stories about this as well. So you're
have.
helping people who want to do this.
We have on our wall, because the other thing is you don't know how much to share with her. I still am confused about that. But I did get printed out and framed really pretty, the announcement that goes out to all the parents that are the possible adoptive parents. It says, basically situation 312, number 3. Like, she was just a number. Oh, it just, like, situation number 312. Their parent, her new adoptive parents have arrived at the hospital, and they're, it
Oh
chokes
my
me up, but
gosh.
they have their new daughter, so I framed that for her. And so I want her to know as much, but you don't know what to tell her when. And I guess you just
I guess that's
grow
part of
with
it that you'll just
I don't
figure
know.
out, yeah.
I don't know.
And she'll always have those brothers to keep her grounded. So that's good.
Oh
and
gosh,
protect
her brothers could care less.
They'll
Her brothers
care.
So Calvin, the oldest one, quickly, he said, I'm not going to ask for her to talk, because I did that with Mac, and it was a huge mistake. I'm
Once he
like-
started talking, he couldn't get him to be quiet. Was that the problem?
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well,
so
you have a beautiful family. You
Thank
already
you.
did, even more so now. So thank you for talking to us. And
Thanks for having me.
yeah, absolutely. Anytime you want to come back and give us updates, we're
And I'm
ready.
still the investigative reporter. I have not left. It's just been a mess right now.
Well, I was going to say, what's your sleep schedule like right now? I'd imagine that's
Every
had some impact.
2 to 3 hours.
Yeah,
yep.
there you go.
2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
But it's worth it, for sure.
Andrea, I know you love that one.
Oh my gosh, that baby is perfect.
Yeah, and you even said to Miranda afterwards, you said, I'm glad that we did this so that she'll be able to someday listen to this and just hear how much she cared about that.
And I think, again, adoption is something that I think is very overwhelming. It's like a lot of people know there are babies that need homes, and it's like you want to help, but I can totally see how you can just not even know where to begin. So just hearing her say, you just got to do it.
And
you
to get
won't
that
know.
call in 18 days and just,
Yeah.
we're on the way.
And you're
gonna
never
have a bit.
going to know. You're never going to be fully prepared. And if you wait around until the time is right, you're never going to do anything.
the time
so
will
I
never be
think
right.
this can be applied to a lot of things in life. And Miranda, thank you so much for being so vulnerable. And Etta Jo, we all love you, and I can't wait for you to listen to this someday.
All right. Well, we both have to go do some stuff, so I'm going to make my favorite thing very quick. At the American Country Music Awards, there's a performance with Willie Nelson and Casey Musgraves, and they did Rainbow Connection, the song from the Muppets.
Oh, I love
And
it.
it was fantastic, and it also brought a little bit of tears to my eye.
Aw.
So go check that out.
And then my favorite thing this week has got to be Operation Honor. I did a story on them for Veterans Day, and they actually, the founder saw a burial flag case for a veteran that said Made in China on the back, which inspired him to start making new burial boxes, not just in the USA, but also by fellow veterans.
I was going to say, they put veterans to work making these boxes.
Exactly. So now they are the only exclusive people who make the burial cases at Arlington National Cemetery. So that's a really cool thing. And then they also have so many other products there that people can buy, and all that money goes back to helping veterans. So operationhonor.org if you want one of those products. Great Christmas gifts. I have one of the flags. So they're really cool. And again, just check them out. You'll be doing some good.
And to know that it's stuff made by veterans, putting them to work,
Yep.
And just good causes all around. Mm-hmm. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for listening. Try to keep this one short. I'm glad we did it, though.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for listening so much. And we're going to keep it going. Hopefully keep finding good stories for you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.